later. "Rule, how good of you to come!" His hostess for the evening, Lady Annabel Greer, floated toward him across the elaborately decorated ballroom in the London mansion she shared with her husband, Travis. "And I see you have brought Lucas with you." Her gaze shifted across the room to where his best friend, Lucas Barclay, made conversation with a delectable young widow he had only just recently met. Rule and Luke had attended Oxford together. Beyond that, they were shirt-sleeve relatives of a sort. Rule's oldest brother, Royal, the Duke of Bransford, was married to a cousin of Luke's brother's wife. Rule returned his attention to his hostess. "It's good to see you, my lady." With her light brown hair and clear blue eyes, Annabel Townsend Greer was nearing 30 and the mother of 3 children, yet she was still a beautiful woman. "I'm surprised you came. You were usually too busy working." She tapped her painted fan against his shoulder. "Don't you know it is highly improper for a member of the aristocracy to labour for money like a commoner?" She grinned. "But then, none of you Duars has ever given a fig for propriety." Rule grinned back. "I might say the same for you, my lady." He could still recall rumours he had heard of the torrid affair that had resulted in Annabel's marriage to Travis Greer, a former lieutenant in the British cavalry, confirmed bachelor and his brother Reese's best friend. Anna just laughed. "I admit to being a bit outrageous at times. Not recently, though." Rule smiled. "No, not since your husband had the courage to take you in hand." Anna grinned at the ridiculous remark. If anything, it was the other way round. Travis walked up just then, a well-built man with sandy brown hair and small gold-rimmed spectacles, who was clearly in love with his wife. A respected journalist with the London Times, he wrote articles about whatever war the country might be fighting at the moment. The empty sleeve of his coat bore testimony to the price he had paid when he was in the cavalry with Reese.
"Good to see you, Rule."
Travis glanced around the ballroom, the mirrored walls reflecting images of dozens of elegantly dressed men and women.
"So which of these lovely ladies has managed to capture your attention? I heard you ended your association with the beautiful and intriguing Lady St. Ives."
Rule took a sip of his champagne. "News travels fast."
"I assume you're on the prowl again?"
He was indeed on the lookout for a new, more interesting mistress. He had grown tired of Evelyn Dreyer, Viscountess St. Ives, and several weeks back had ended the affair. It wasn't Evie's fault, he knew. For some time now he had been feeling restless and bored, in search of something but not quite certain what it was. Travis's gaze shifted away from him and moved around the ballroom.
"Or could it be that you are finally on the hunt for a wife?"
The sip of champagne Rule had taken nearly spewed from his mouth. He shook his head.
"I'm definitely not looking for a wife, at least not at the moment."
No one in London knew he was married, not even his family. He would have to tell them, of course, and soon. Should have done it long ago. But telling them would make it real. It would force him to admit it was past time he did his duty, went to Boston, and retrieved his wife. The thought had him excusing himself and heading for the liquor table for something stronger than champagne. Luke caught up with him there.
"The crowd is beginning to thin. How about we head over to the club? Or we could go to Crockford's, do a little gambling."
Luke was nearly as tall as Rule, with dark brown hair and keen brown eyes. He had a scar through his right eyebrow that gave him a rakish, dangerous appearance women seemed to find attractive.
"Or, if you are up to it, we could stop by Madame Lafond's."
Luke grinned lasciviously at the pun, but Rule shook his head. There was a time the elegant bordello had been one of his favourite ways to spend an evening. Lately, the notion of bedding one of the house's beautiful harlots held little appeal.
"How about Crockford's?" he said. "I've been on a bit of a lucky streak lately. Perhaps it will hold."
Luke smiled.
"Crockford's it is."
The one thing Rule wasn't ready to do was go home. If he did, his conscience would nag him. He would think about the money Griff had left him when he died, the profitable investments from his lavish salary, and the promise he had made. Though he had kept track of Violet through her aunt, Harriet Ardmore, he hadn't been back to see the girl.